Hey guys, this is Billy from AdultCello.com, and today I want to talk about one of the most elusive elements of cello playing for many adult learners, vibrato. Now, as someone who started the cello at the age of 25 from scratch, I distinctly remember feeling that I could not consider myself a real cellist unless I had a working vibrato. And I also know this is a pretty popular opinion amongst other adult learners. And while I no longer personally believe vibrato is the single litmus test of whether you're a legit cellist or not at all, I do believe every adult learner can learn it and should if it's something they want to do. But here's the thing, with vibrato in particular, even if you're working hard and practicing the right exercises, there are a few sneaky obstacles that can block your progress. So today, I want to share the top 3 unexpected things that can sabotage your vibrato efforts. Number 1 is excess physical tension. This may at first sound obvious since no one would imagine being tense is going to help anything, but I'm talking especially about excess tension in a few critical areas, namely the left bicep elbow area and the base row of knuckles of your left hand. Regarding the bicep, that type of tension is usually a result of either trying to hold yourself in the quote-unquote right position, or from tensing up while trying to start your vibrato, or just fighting your way through a tight, unbalanced left arm and hand. In terms of the base row of knuckles, I think a lot of that tension is actually just a result of bad playing habits in general regarding how we strike notes with the fingers. It's just that learning vibrato is the activity that reveals these habits because it restricts your finger flexibility severely. So, what are some signs that you're holding extra tension? By far and away, the number 1 sign is the dreaded hummingbird vibrato. Super fast, super narrow, and basically uncontrollable. Here's the thing. You can sometimes get away with excess physical tension in other areas of cello playing. I obviously don't recommend it, but you can still learn to play scales, etudes, even entire sonatas with a left hand that's far too tense. I did it myself for years, sadly. But vibrato, there's just no way. If you want a warm, beautiful vibrato, you need to deal with physical tension as well. On the bright side, working on pinpointing and reducing tension will basically improve everything else: shifting, left-hand technique, and even your overall sound quality. So, how can we work on excess tension in these 2 areas? I'd like to share 2 exercises. For the bicep, we're going to do what I call arm circles, and for the base row of knuckles, we can try a hammering technique of dropping the fingers. Okay, so I've got my cello here now, and let's go ahead and just look at these 2 exercises. So this first exercise is going to be addressing left arm tension, but where I like to look especially is in that kind of bicep elbow area. So the idea is we'll just pick a note. I'm going to pick D on the A string, and you can bow, or you can either do this using like a pizzicato technique, or you can use your bow. And I'm going to start playing the note. And then as I start playing, I'm going to try to feel a good amount of weight in my fingertip and start allowing my arm to kind of go in sort of strange directions, okay? And the whole idea is that my arm is going to be light and free to kind of do all these weird movements, but it's never going to take the weight out of my fingertip. So I have a heavy fingertip, but a really light arm, okay? So it'll look like this. So, if you try this and you, is that working? The idea is that your arm is, again, light here. Okay, so if you feel like you're just basically, you've got this really tense arm that's pushing down and moving this, it's not. Think more of like an octopus arm without bones. So it should feel very kind of loosey-goosey. But even during all that, I'm able to keep the fingertip into the string. That will help kind of start channeling the weight into the fingertip and out, hopefully out of your arm, so that it becomes freer and more easy to use. And for the base row of knuckles, what I want to do is suggest a different kind of style of playing notes altogether. Instead of simply squeezing down in a really careful, that kind of way, which I had that habit a while ago, what you can do is you think of a hammer hitting a nail. So we've got our hammer, we swing back to get some energy going, and then swing down with the hammer, and then you hit the nail and that's it. No more, you don't have to keep pushing, nothing else, okay? So here, instead of hovering above and slowly squeezing and then engaging the thumb because like, how much is too much? Let me keep going. You're just thinking backswing, drop, backswing, drop. You can try that without the bow, you can do it with the bow, and then eventually you could do kind of something like that, maybe a chromatic where you work on little hammers for each finger. But that hammering action is really going to help you because that backswing is going to start engaging the finger from this base row of knuckles, like this. And then by throwing it down, you'll be substituting speed for squeezing. So it's just the speed at which you throw down the finger is going to get the string down, so you won't have to squeeze extra. So the second thing that can sabotage your vibrato is a lack of coordination between the hands. Early on in my vibrato journey, I thought of vibrato as just kind of like a left-hand technique, something I could practice on its own in isolation that would eventually function like a separate switch I could turn on and off whenever I wanted. But in reality, vibrato is more like a team sport. Both the left hand and bow arm have to work together just like the pairs figure skating event in the Olympics. Just like those skaters during their routines, at times the hands may look like they're doing separate things, but everything needs to be synced up and choreographed to work together. So what are some signs that you may have an issue with coordination between the two hands? One would be awkward hitches, like struggling to start vibrato at the beginning of a bow stroke, which is very common. And secondly would be basically losing vibrato completely during a bow change or a shift. When this happens, your left hand is doing one thing, your bow hand's doing another, and essentially you can imagine they're bickering with each other instead of singing a duet together. For vibrato to sound expressive, it has to connect with the shape and flow of your bowing. That's when it stops sounding like something on top of the sound and starts sounding like something that's truly part of the sound, something inside the tone that's enriching the quality and releasing more overtones. And just to be clear, in my opinion, the bow leads the dance by carving a musical line, and then what kind of vibrato you choose to employ is essentially whatever is going to complement and enhance the bow's work. To get a good sense of how this can look, sound, and feel, I want to share a simple exercise that helps get the two hands on the same page. Essentially, we're going to play a whole note with hairpins, and our vibrato's intensity is going to match whatever we're doing with the bow. All right, here we are back again with the cello. Let's take a look at an exercise that will help get the two hands on the same page. What we're going to do is basically I'm going to play a down bow for 4 beats, and I'm going to do a hairpin dynamically. So it's going to start very soft at the frog, grow to a kind of a highest point, and then come back down. So by the end of the bow stroke, I've quieted down again. So I'll just do that without vibrato. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You want it to start small, grow organically, and then like shrink again organically. And then what you can do is start matching your vibrato to what your bow's doing. And the general rule here is that if the bow gets more energized and more intense, the vibrato gets more intense, and when the bow kind of quiets down or loses energy, so will the vibrato. So what I like to do is kind of start, if I'm going to add the vibrato, I'll start with like a little bit of a shimmer, just to remind myself that we're starting small. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the biggest part of the bow, where you've got the most volume, the most richness, that's going to have the widest vibrato. And then as the bow kind of comes back down, the vibrato should sort of narrow or just like lose energy. And the third and final thing that can sabotage your vibrato is self-belief. This final point is obviously more on the mental side of things than the physical, but it's just as important, if not more so, than the first two. As adult learners, we do have some superpowers: focus, determination, perseverance, not to mention refined musical taste and the earnest desire to express ourselves. But we also tend to be harder on ourselves than kids are, and we often question our capabilities. This topic, also known as self-efficacy, is basically the degree to which you believe you can do something, which is in reality actually separate from your true capability to do the thing in question. So, how can you tell if you have low self-efficacy regarding vibrato? If you ever hear a little voice in your head saying things like, "This is too hard," or "This is probably the one aspect of cello you're just too old to learn," that should be like a little bell going off, alerting you that your self-efficacy tank is running low. The problem is, this feeling can actually change the way you approach the learning process. You might hesitate or hold back or even avoid committing to the very exercises that would help you make progress because you're worried that failing to achieve vibrato will be demoralizing proof that those little voices were right all along. And who wants to feel like they hit the end of the line in a creative, artistic endeavor? So, now for some good news. Like most things, your sense of self-efficacy regarding a specific task can be improved. It is not a fixed level. In terms of exercises I could recommend, one thing that really helped me during a sort of psychological plateau I was having earlier in my cello journey was journaling affirmations. If you want to give it a try, take a simple sentence and physically write it down 10 times in a row each day. For example, I, insert your name, will develop a beautiful, masterful vibrato. It is only a matter of time and effort. I know it may sound a bit silly, but it definitely helped me shift my mindset. And when you believe progress is inevitable, it's going to positively affect your practice. You're going to try harder, problem solve with more urgency, and drive towards a goal instead of simply putting on a timer and doing X minutes of X number of exercises. So there you have it. Those are my top 3 less obvious obstacles that can sabotage your vibrato efforts: physical tension, lack of coordination between the hands, and low self-efficacy. I really hope this helps you in your practice, and if you found this helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel so that you don't miss future videos. Thanks for watching.